Flagler spill its first two games of the season on the road tonight. They kick off their home schedule with an old rival, Embry-Riddle. The Eagles and Saints have a long, storied history, and they write a new chapter tonight. Saints basketball starts now. Hi, everyone, along with Ivan Kelly, Laura Plexico, our producer, and our camera person, Sammy Jennison. I'm Dave Wenda. And we are excited for the start of another men's basketball season, and we have a fantastic home crowd tonight for you. Let's look at the starting lineups first for the Embry-Riddle University Eagles. Starting at a guard, a 6'3 junior, number 1, Drew Nixon. Also at guard, a graduate student, number 2, Cameron Shockley Okeke. At guard, a 6'1 senior, number 22, Malcolm Whitlow. At a forward, a 6'5 junior, number 25, Michael McAllister. And at forward, a 6'6 senior, number 32, Danny Sully. The Eagles are coached by Steve Ritter, assisted by Chad Keller and Patrick O'Grady. And now the starters for the Flagler College Saints. At a guard, a 6'1 junior, number 0, Jax Balknight. Also at guard, a 6' junior, number 1, Omar Figueroa. At guard, a 6'2 junior, number 3, Spencer Bain. At guard, a 6'3 junior, number 15, Destin Clark. And rounding out the lineup, at guard, a 6'3 senior, number 24, Malik Bryant. Saints are coached by Blake Selland. The associate head coach is Kip Owens. And the assistant coach is Brady Shuck. Well, Ivan, you've done some scouting. You know this rivalry very well as a former Flagler coach, as an NBA scout. You follow basketball for many decades. So what do you see as the key here, Eagles and Saints?
Well, I've got some keys for tonight's game. For Embry-Riddle, the key for them is to run. They love to run the floor, space it out, shoot the three. So they will want to control the tempo of the game. So their spacing on offense is going to be very important. And then defensively, they get an unusual amount of steals, so they'll need to continue their thievery on defense. For Flagler, they've got to shake off any opening night jitters. This is their first home game of the season, and players can get a little tight. So once they get past that, I think it's 3 C's. They got to contain the drivers, they got to contest the three-point shots, and they got to control the rebounds.
We have a very healthy crowd for a non-conference game on a weeknight. Maybe it's the weather, it's cold and rainy and kind of dank outside, but we have a really healthy crowd. This feels like almost January in a conference setting.
These two teams have had a long rivalry back in the days when they were both in the NAIA, and they would have intense games. The gym would be full an hour before the game. It was they were both two NAIA powers that would just go at it, and they had it was quite a series. When Flagler moved to Division II, the rivalry died away. Embry-Riddle joined Division II, and they're able to play each other, although they're in different conferences, so it doesn't quite have the same veritas that it did before, but it's something that the crowd remembers.
Embry-Riddle now playing in the Sunshine State Conference, a very competitive conference. They went all the way to the conference championship game before losing to Nova Southeastern, but they did make yet another NCAA appearance last year on the strength of their schedule and their performance in the regular season and the conference tournament. Meanwhile, Flagler looking to get back to the NCAA tournament after making a couple of runs there, including that deep Final Four run a few years ago. Flagler is in the home whites with the red lettering and red numerals, and Embry-Riddle in the dark uniforms trimmed in yellow and blue. Well, Tyler Collier, who was a part of that Final Four team and the only remaining player, if I'm not mistaken, from that squad, is in the center to jump it up for the Saints. Embry-Riddle controls the opening tip. We'll work it down the low post, or try to. It's intercepted by Collier and stolen away. Destin Clark gets credit for the steal, but it was Collier making the play. This is Omar Figueroa driving, kicking into the corner for Clark. Tries the baseline. Loose ball on the floor and a kicked ball. It'll keep it right here with Flagler.
Both teams have opened in man-to-man, chasing each other.
So Balknight, the point guard, will trigger from the baseline. Throws up top to the newcomer Destin Clark, a junior transfer from Wingate University. And now put it into the hands of Malik Bryant. Bryant, a first-team All-PBC pick a year ago in his first season in St. Augustine. Figueroa for three. Good start for the Saints. Right back the other way. Embry-Riddle tries a quick three. It's an air ball, but the offensive rebound is controlled by the Eagles. They'll try another triple, this time from Nixon. No good. And leaking out ahead of the defense is Destin Clark. He's fouled on his way up. Clark, the 6'3 junior from Indian Lane, South Carolina, transfer from Wingate, will go to the line to shoot a couple.
Both of these teams love to shoot the three-pointer. Both of them, about 34% of their shots are threes. So that's their first look.
Clark knocks down the first one. Crowd's continuing to file in, and if you're listening here in St. Augustine, come on down. What else do you have to do on a Thursday night? 2 nights before the Nights of Lights, and it really gets crazy here in downtown St. Augustine. Clark made them both. The Saints out to a 5-0 lead. Nixon handling for the Eagles. Work it through the high post. Backdoor cut, it wasn't there. It's a turnover for the Eagles. And Coach, you're very familiar with Embry-Riddle's head coach, Steve Ritter. He goes back into the late 80s and is one of the all-time winningest coaches, not only in Division II, but in all levels of college basketball.
I think he's the winningest coach in all of Florida history. 759 wins. Won the 2000 NAIA National Championship and has taken it to 3 NCAA appearances.
Lots of success for Coach Ritter, who's elected to stay and work his entire career in Daytona. And finally, the Eagles get something going inside. That's Sully with the layup. Ritter and your old boss, Bo Clark, faced off many a time, and Coach Clark is here in attendance.
He is.
There's Balknight for three. The Eagles hoist up another quick three. They get another offensive rebound. Nixon tracking down his own miss. Free throw line jumper is good from McAllister. Eight 4 Saints early on. Malik Bryant driving, spinning, and a little too strong on the floater. Three-pointer again from the Eagles, again left way short. Perhaps some early jitters from Embry-Riddle as well. They'll take a corner three. That's Nixon, and he rattles it home. Figueroa gives it up top to Balknight. Now Collier, the senior. Figueroa passes out of a double team. Balknight calling for a screen. Looking to go pick and roll, and the ball is kicked. Collier slipped the pick, and we'll get our first look at Kyle Young, number 10. Young had a great first season here at Flagler, a third-team All-PBC pick a season ago, among the leaders in field goal percentage, rebounding, and scoring. Coach Shellen really likes the fall that Kyle Young put in. He said he's had among the best falls of anyone on the roster with the work he did, and a shot clock violation for the Saints. Coach, that's got to drive you crazy if you're Coach Sellen on the sidelines. I'm sure he was screaming about the shot clock running down, but the crowd's so loud I don't think anyone heard him.
The place is alive here in the Clark family gym, and that's an unnecessary turnover.
Kyle Young with good defense inside, but another offensive board and the stick back from McAllister. Eagles have their first lead of the game. Balknight attacks, kicks it into the corner, extra pass, another pass. Clark, three-pointer, yes! Destin Clark.
Embry-Riddle's now scored their last 4 possessions.
Slicing through and a nice reverse layup. And that's Whitlow with the finish. Ties the game at 11. Quick three from the Saints at the other end. Big time rebound from Clark inside. He attacks and a little too strong on the putback attempt. Nixon attacks, and now the baseline drive, and the defense kind of olayed as McAllister went right on by and gives the Eagles a 2-point advantage. There's Kyle Young getting some space inside and finishing. Post move and a foul as Shockley Okeke made his move. And that'll get us to our first media timeout. Tied at 13. You're watching Saints basketball on the Peach Belt Conference Network. And welcome back to Flagler Gym here on the campus of Flagler College. And Coach Embry-Riddle has some staying power in terms of their roster. It looks much like the roster that went to the NCAAs a year ago.
It looks almost identical. They have actually returned 15 players. And what's so common today in basketball is a player will enter the transfer portal and try to find greener pastures. But they had 15 players return. As a matter of fact, with the COVID year that players were given, they have 5 players who are playing their 6th year at Embry-Riddle.
By my count, Flagler has 9 returners. I hope that's accurate. I just did a quick jog down the roster, and that is a turnover and then a foul committed by Balknight, perhaps in frustration, as he had committed the turnover and now commits the foul to add insult to injury. Coach Sellen bringing in some players he's very excited about. One of them's Jack Carter. We've not seen him yet. The 6'7" freshman from Tennessee. Also Destin Clark, who we've seen and has some flashes early on here. It's another player they're very excited about. Another near offensive board. Last touch by Embry-Riddle will go over to the Saints. One of the players who wasn't here a year ago, but is very familiar with Flagler basketball and winning Flagler basketball, Jalen Barr, is back and healthy and ready to contribute. The defensive stalwart, the rebounding ace.
Former Peach Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year.
And a two-time third-team pick in the PBC overall. Jalen Barr with that junkyard dog mentality, as former coach Chad Warner used to describe him. And we've got a whistle and a foul. This one will go against Figueroa. That's his first. That will send Whitlow to the line. Good competitive game here, nearly halfway through the first half. Checking in is the three-point sharpshooter Spencer Bain, along with Mason Manning, another of the newcomers. Manning, a freshman out of Jackson, Mississippi. And Bain, the veteran, the junior from Overland Park, Kansas. Gone is Chase Fiddler, who teamed up with Bain as one of those sort of instant offense guys off the bench. And also into the game is number 23, Barr. Barr handling in the backcourt, not necessarily his forte, but he's able to get it across the timeline and now draws the double team, and he throws it away.
Embry-Riddle surprised him with a 1-2-1-1 trap.
There's the drive and the finish as it rolls home for Whitlow. The Eagles have a 4-point advantage, and the Eagles will press again. Throwing over the top to Bryant.
After the press, Embry-Riddle drops back into the man-to-man.
Bryant with the drive and the finger roll. Boy, Young and Sully are really banging down low. See how much the officials let them play. Good defense. I think Young got a piece of that. A partial block from Kyle Young. Bryant has it tipped away from behind, and then Barr is able to throw it off one of the Eagles' legs and keep it with Flagler. Get it into Barr, spinning through a double team, has a shot blocked. Barr with good defense, but again an offensive rebound and a putback. Young will try a three. He's got some range for a big guy. Very athletic family Kyle Young comes from. His brother Ryan is on the team at Duke. His parents were both athletes at Syracuse University. Transfer from Siena, a D1 school. And there's a finish inside from Embry-Riddle and Jerry Bracey II. Eagles have opened up their biggest advantage at 23-17, and Kyle Young goes staggering to the floor as he was fouled. It's a timeout on the floor. We'll take it to 23-17, Eagles leading. Well, Coach, both teams shooting it very well from the floor, both over 50%. 53% shooting for the Eagles and even 50% for Flagler, but perhaps the defense or the difference early on has been offensive rebound. 5 offensive rebounds for Embry-Riddle to just 1 for Flagler.
And they converted on those rebounds.
So Flagler ball trailing by 6. Spencer Bain will inbound from under his own basket.
Embry-Riddle drops to a 2-3 zone.
Wide open 3, and it's good. Mason Manning with his first home triple as a Saint. And he slashes the lead in half. Oh, serious banging inside. No call as Collier goes to the floor, and Collier's no easy guy to push around like that. We've seen some real physical play underneath the basket from the bigs. Bain off target on the 3, and then a foul on the rebound. And I think they're going to get Embry-Riddle's Nixon on the foul as Collier again hit the floor. It stays with the Saints. That's the first foul on Nixon. Barr has it in the corner. Out to Clark. Another 3 coming. This one off the mark from Manning. Ball nearly stolen away, and it looked like Embry-Riddle touched it last, as from our vantage point at least, it looked like it went off the knee of Whitlow. It's going to stay here with Embry-Riddle. They do have a review here in Division II now, but sometimes the technology is a little sketchy. Collier with a big-time board. Tyler Collier in his senior season. This is Clark working right to left, goes down the lane, finds Bain underneath, and Barr cleans it up. Another offensive board for the Eagles. They'll kick it out. A 3 try is good from Skorich. Six-point advantage. Barr backing down. And a foul is committed, I believe, here by the Eagles. Coach, did you get a better look at that than I did? I did not see the foul committed. I was watching his...
You know, with big men, there's a whole war that goes on below the waist. So there might be something happening there when Jalen was trying to post up that we might not have seen from here.
The foul is on Alessandro, and there's a three-pointer from Figueroa. Figueroa, a hero in the win up in South Carolina. Made the big shot that put Flagler ahead to stay. And there's the attack and the finish from Bracey. Figueroa feeling it, fades away and drops in the 2. This feels like a rivalry game. The back and forth, the counter punching. And a travel called on Bracey as Collier stood straight up. Great defense by the Saints. Well, we talked about Coach Ritter Blake Sellen is at the beginning of his career as a head coach, kind of the opposite of Coach Ritter. In his second season, he was the lead assistant for Coach Warner on the very successful teams of the 5-year run. There's Clark with the bucket and the bump.
Basketball is a game of runs, and Flagler scored their last 4 possessions.
And a timeout taken as we are under 8 minutes to go in the first half. It's a 1-point ball game from St. Augustine. And welcome back out of the timeout. Coach, what strikes you through 12 minutes or so of this first half?
Well, 2 things stand out to me. One is the physical play inside, and 2 is the pace of the game. These are 2 schools that are known for flying down the court, spotting up, and shooting threes, and neither team has been doing that. It's been like right now we see Embry-Riddle walking it up. They're getting in their half-court sets. They're looking for backdoors. They're rubbing off a double screen here.
Three-pointer is good as the hot shooting continues for both sides. That's McAllister with the tray. Going inside and drawing the foul again is Clark. So Clark heads back to the free throw line. The foul's on McAllister, his first. Team foul number 6 for the Eagles, so the Saints will be in the bonus the rest of the way. Clark makes 1 of 2, and the lead is 3.
Flagler's done a great job so far controlling Nixon, their leading scorer.
Kyle Young battling for the board amongst a trio of Eagles. Gets it out to Clark. Saints want to run this time. And Young thought about the 3. Extra pass. Balknight ties it with the 3. And stolen away, or at least a turnover forced by Balknight as he got a hand in there and was able to tip it off of Nixon's shoe. So Saints get it back. Saints have the momentum as we speak. Our referees today, Daryl Smith, Donatus Sayadinas, and Lachey Bernstein. Inside it goes, and the foul is drawn. Kyle Young thought he had a good defensive posture there as he was D'ing up Jeretich.
When he watches the tape, he'll realize when the contact was made, he lowered both of his arms just enough to affect the shot and have the foul called on him.
It's actually Jeretich, excuse me. Substitutions checking in. Malik Bryant gives Spencer Bain a breather. And Embry-Riddle will get a couple of subs in, including Whitlow. Also checking in is number 32, Danny Sully. Talking to Coach Sellen yesterday, he said Embry-Riddle is a team that plays very hard, they play very physically, and they're a team that doesn't beat itself, as you would expect, having a veteran coach like Ritter and a veteran roster that returns 15 players. Young inside. Excellent position by Kyle Young, getting deep in the paint. The extra pass pays off for the Eagles as Sully finishes. Balknight goes right to the 10. Balknight has a little something to say about it after. Stolen away by Bryant. And a whistle from way behind the play. Oh.
An intentional foul.
Oh. Good eyes, Coach.
They got a little tangled up, and then he wrapped him up with his legs and didn't let him run the floor. The referee saw it, called the intentional foul.
Well, it looked like to a lot of those in the gym, including me, that the Saints had the breakaway, and perhaps it was an injury or a bluffed injury to stop things, but you wouldn't whistle the play dead at that point.
No, their legs were intertwined, and he was it was sort of the old Dennis Rodman play. He's all wrapped up with the guy and won't let him get up.
So the refs are sorting it out here. And they'll have both clubs go to the respective benches, and I think they're going to try to review this.
They probably want to make sure they have the right person shooting the free throws.
Gives us a chance to thank some of the sponsors of Flagler Athletics, including Vested Metals. We are a customer-centric and solution-based metal supplier. UBS Financial, pursue what matters most to you for today, tomorrow, and generations to come. Sniffen & Spellman, PA, a full-service law firm representing clients statewide. The McLeod Firm, Florida personal injury attorneys you can count on. Taylor & Waldrop, St. Augustine lawyers backed by experience, and Sunshine Realty for all your real estate needs. So right now, the official stats have McAllister as the offending party. We'll see what the officials come back with from their video review. It's been an entertaining first half. This has been great.
Oh, absolutely. It's what you'd expect in this rivalry game.
And the teams don't look like they're playing, well, for Flagler, their third game of the season. They seem pretty sharp, as they'll have Kyle Young shoot the free throws. And it looks like the foul will stand on McAllister. Young makes one of two, and it will be Flagler basketball. Well, we talked about the physicality among the bigs, and finally a whistle blown to maybe tamp down some of that.
Yeah, it could be. You want the game played physically, but you still want it played clean. You don't want anyone injured. And at some point, the referees will say, that's enough. We got to tighten this up. Flagler looks back at the low post.
Looking for Young, but a whistle before he can make his move. And it looks like Young will be headed back to the free throw line. Fouls on Sully. Danny Sully, his first. And the Saints are in the bonus, so they should be shooting 1-and-1 here. And I think the officials have just realized it. Misses the front end.
That's unusual for him to miss 2 free throws in a row.
Wide open from the elbow, and knocking it down is Sully. Tied at 38. Figueroa open in the corner. His teammates found him. And a little too strong. Sully has the board. Balknight and Nixon, a lot of contact. Play on. Three-pointer straight away, and it's true from Alessandro. John Alessandro, a senior from Beaver Creek, Ohio.
A little pick-and-pop action by Embry-Riddle that time.
Bryant spinning in the lane. Beautiful move and great body control, and drops in the floater. Alessandro drives, left it short, but there's Sully cleaning it up. Sully has exerted himself in the last number of sequences. Here's Clark backing down and attacking. Destin Clark has 10 points already. Looking to set up that pick and screen action again, or the pick and roll, excuse me. Young yanks down the board, looking for the long pass. Clark has it, goes baseline, and it's an offensive foul. So block charge is the great old debate, and I thought they got it right there.
He drove baseline, pulled it back with his right hand and spun, and I think he might have hooked him a little bit as he was spinning.
Timeout on the floor. Eagles lead it by 1. And welcome back out of the timeout. 43-42 Eagles. And we talked about the pace. Doesn't seem like these teams are flying up and down the court, but you made a good point, Coach. We're on pace to be in the 80s. We're already in the 40s with 3 and change remaining.
There haven't been a lot of possessions in the game, but yet they've both been effective in scoring in those possessions. And here we are with 3 minutes to go in the half, and we're in the mid-40s already.
Jalen Barr forces another Eagles turnover. That's their 7th of the game. Flagler has been pretty good with ball security, just 4 turnovers thus far.
Embry-Riddle goes back to zone.
Bryant attacks that zone. Reverse layup attempt is no good. Barr's there battling for the rebound and forces the held ball. And that's a pretty good result for Flagler, where it looked like Embry-Riddle had a defensive stop. And Flagler keeps the ball with the possession arrow.
Let's see if Embry-Riddle goes back to the zone. Yep, on the baseline out of bounds. Each possession they've had to defend Flagler. They've gone back to their 2-3 zone.
And so the point of that to force Flagler to shoot over top of it and try to shut down the inside game? Or?
I think that's exactly it. They're probably worried about Flagler doing some interior screening and getting an easy shot.
Long pass and nearly stolen. It is stolen. And a whistle, and I think, is that going to be goaltending?
Yes.
So a good play by Bracy on the steal. He didn't come away with the basket, but his team gets 2 points out of it.
The zone defense forced the long pass. He was just able to get a finger on it and take it down the other way to score.
Bryant has it stolen away. Consecutive turnovers by the Saints.
Deep three.
Very deep, left short. Another offensive board and another steal. Barr steps in front, and then he lost it. We'll talk to Coach Sellen at halftime, we presume. Sometimes he's so eager to talk to his team, he goes right to the locker room, but we usually have a halftime interview with Coach. Clark to Figueroa, and he's bumped and fouled, so Figueroa will go to the line, or excuse me, Balknight, to shoot a 1-and-1.
Balknight's a criminology major from Georgia. This is the front end of that 1-and-1.
Drive along the baseline and a tough finish. And that was Shockley Okeke. And then inside it goes. Jax Balknight has had a nice half. That's 10 for him as they continue to trade punches, these old rivals. And another finish off another offensive rebound, and then a whistle afterwards. Bracy with the finish. And I think they're going to get Barr for a foul after the play. If so, that's Jalen's first personal. Or excuse me, was this against Embry-Riddle?
It would be against Embry-Riddle.
Yeah, it was
if
Sully's
Flagler's getting
foul.
The ball. Jalen was the one fouled. He's going to the free throw line.
So Jalen Barr heads to the line.
Talked about one of the keys to the game for Flagler was to control the boards. This last possession, they gave up 3 shots.
A lot of offensive rebounds so far for Embry-Riddle. They have 10 in the game to 4 for the Saints. They're out rebounding Flagler overall 22-10. As we tick under a minute to play first half. There's another drive and finish from Jerry Bracey, who has 10 points in the game and a chance at completing a 3-point play.
Embry-Riddle's attacking with a high-low action. They're putting a big down on the low post, and they're putting a big in the mid area, rubbing the guy off of him. So now our big man's got a decision. Do I sag off and pick up the guy rolling off the screen? If I do, I give up the three-pointer. If I stay tight to my man, I give up a drive to the basket.
A 6-point advantage for the Eagles. Flagler looks like they'll run an offensive set here and not shoot early in the shot clock. Faulknight working off the Young screen, and now he goes right at the basket. Backing down, fade away is good. Faulknight has 12.
There's that high-low set again.
About a 4-second difference between shot and game clock as Bracey goes to work. He's cut off that time. And a three-pointer knocked down off-balance style, Shockley Okeke. And that'll do it for the first half, 55-48. A very entertaining first half between the Saints and Eagles, old rivalry. And we'll see if Coach Sellen elects to come up and do the interview, if he wants to get right to work in the locker room. And it looks like he's headed into the locker room. So get your thoughts, Coach, on what you saw in the first half. I was thoroughly entertained.
Oh, that's great. If you like scoring, come watch Embry-Riddle and Flagler play. It's going to be flying. The Embry-Riddle has attacked the basket off the dribble much more than I expected them to. They've been much more effective going to the offensive glass and keeping the ball alive and giving themselves a second chance. 10 points, 12 points off second chance attempts. Just makes it that much more difficult for Flagler. Flagler has come down, shot its share of threes, attacked the basket a lot, going one-on-one. Sometimes effective, sometimes running into traffic. But it's going to be a tough second half both ways. I think it's still going to be physical, but Flagler is going to have to improve their defensive and rebounding abilities.
Are you surprised how well the team shot? Embry-Riddle shooting 58%, Flagler at an even 60%.
That's staggering. That's amazing. I'm kind of speechless on that one. But, they're both offensively minded teams. Flagler can't win in the Peach Belt if they give up 55 points a half. And I think they know that. But yet, they score so well, maybe they can.
All right, we'll take a break. Be back in about 10 minutes. 55-48. Eagles lead it at the half. And welcome back to St. Augustine. 55-48 at the break. As you look at some of the team statistics, both teams shooting it very well, nearly 58% for the Eagles, 60% for the Saints. The rebounding battle being won decisively by Embry-Riddle, including on the offensive glass, 10-4 in offensive rebounds. But we're not going to just stop there. We're going to take our stats a step further, because we not only have a former coach, we have an economics professor here, and he's hand-keeping efficiency. So if you're familiar when you're filling out your NCAA brackets with Ken Palm and offensive efficiency, well, he's been doing this since before probably Ken Palm was out of high school. So, Coach, what have you figured out in terms of efficiency, and kind of explain the importance and where the numbers stand?
I think we've been doing it since before personal computers were invented. What we're looking at, it's on offensive efficiency rating. How many points per possession? Now, in theory, what you want to do is you want to score around 1 point a possession and keep your opponents below 1 point. Because if you score more per possession than they do, you'll win. So the numbers here today are pretty staggering, and you don't know if is it great offense or is it bad defense. Flagler had 1.2, which is an amazingly wonderful score, and Embry-Riddle was 1.4, which is like a team of all-stars scoring.
That's incredible. Thank you, Coach, for breaking that down for us. And not only that, but doing it by hand. Certainly old school, both of us here on the broadcast team. Ivan Kelly, Dave Wenda, along with our producer, Laurel Plexico, and our camera operator, Sammy Jennison. So it'll be Embry-Riddle ball to start the second half. Again, the Eagles in the dark uniforms and Flagler in the home whites. We'll work through Sully. Sully picks up his dribble, working off the double team. Gives it up. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. It's stolen away. Collier picks up the loose ball. Tyler Collier, whose dad played in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, to give an idea of the kind of physicality he has in his genes. And there's a nice finish by Balknight, who has 14 points. He leads the Saints. Destin Clark with 10. The leading scorer for Embry-Riddle is Bracey with 11, and 9 different Eagles have scored in this game already as we begin the second half. Another near turnover. Clark couldn't quite find the handle.
Both teams playing man-to-man this time. Flagler's going underneath the screens defensively to shut off the drives.
So the officials will come together here to sort something out.
I think they're not quite sure who the ball was off of on that deflection. I think Flagler was the last to touch it, so it is Embry-Riddle ball. Now they're talking about the shot clock.
Shot clock at 14. Nice step-through move by Nixon, the point guard. Nixon with just 3 points. So the Saints have done a good job defensively against the Eagles' leading scorer. Balknight gets free underneath. Double team comes, passes out to Clark for 3. Wild shot underneath, and I think they're going to get Collier for a foul on the rebound. Shot was missed by Shockley Okeke, but Collier using that big body to clear some space, and he's called for the foul. That's his first personal. Body hits the floor as Whitlow scores. Balknight with some fancy ball handling. Draws the defense to him, kicks it out to Collier for 3, not necessarily his shot. Clark inside, gets his own miss and draws the foul on the putback attempt. Well, Coach, you're familiar with Steve Ritter, the legendary Eagles coach. You're also familiar with one of his assistants, Chad Keller.
Chad Keller is a Flagler College graduate. He's a great kid. He was a team leader here. He was the captain his junior and senior years. He was a business major here at Flagler. And then he went on to coach at Leesburg High School and then got an opportunity to be an assistant coach at Embry-Riddle, and he's been there for 20 years now.
That's not something you see necessarily at the D2 level, that kind of longevity from an assistant.
And but he knows, I guess, where his true heart is because his daughter is a Flagler College student majoring in anthropology. Now, Chad has been undergoing cancer treatments for the last 4 years, and he told me he had chemotherapy just yesterday. The first time in his coaching career he didn't travel on the team bus. He had his family drive him up for the game today. So he's seen some dark times, but he still loves the game, and he's still here.
Former Saint. And our thoughts are with him in his cancer treatment. Clark handling, bringing it up now, giving up to Balknight. Backdoor cut intercepted by the Eagles. That was perhaps telegraphed. Quick three-pointer from Nixon, who's been quiet. And the lead all of a sudden swells to double digits. Oh, another player hits the floor as Clark goes right by McAllister. Clark's had himself a home debut. 12 points for Destin. And a block from Kyle Young. Among the leaders in blocks last year in the PBC. And it looks like one of the former block leaders for Flagler is getting up off the bench, Jalen Barr. Hopefully he'll come in. Former Defensive Player of the Year in the PBC. And another block from Young, but another offensive rebound. Battling for it inside. And a shot clock violation. Good defense by the Saints in general, and in particular, Kyle Young.
Making himself a presence inside, blocking 2 shots, not allowing a second rebound, holding his ground defensively.
So Young now with 3 blocks in the game. He has 7 points, couple of rebounds. He's 3 of 5 from the field. Barr and Bain waiting at the scorer's table to check in. Figueroa, long 2, rattles in and out. Rebound Nixon. And
another
again,
block.
Young blocks it, or at least changes the shot, and then falls down and is called for traveling. And Young's a little slow getting up. I think he's okay. I think he's just still disappointed with the result of the play. And that gets us to our under 16 media timeout. 62-54 Eagles. And welcome back to Bo Clark Family Court in Flagler Gym on the campus of Flagler College. Two old rivals and still geographical rivals. Embry-Riddle out of Daytona and the Flagler Saints still get together in most sports. We see them in volleyball, we see them in baseball, women's basketball, and Barr couldn't control that, but they're going to say at last touch Sully. Looking for Young, and the pass off target. Floater, no. Young, great position, boxing out his man and corralling the rebound. Bryant attacks the other way and scores with a finger roll. Nixon, baseline jumper, no. Battle for the board, and it's going to stay with the Eagles.
Nixon's interesting. He started at Embry-Riddle, was part of their Sweet 16 team, then left Embry-Riddle, came back, and the coaches are very proud of him. He's their real team leader this year.
You had a chance to talk to Coach Ritter. Any idea how long he intends to keep it going there, or did that not come up?
Oh, that's those sort of things. You're very you don't bring up.
Okay. Bryant working off the Young screen. Now into the corner, Barr. Barr tries the baseline. Barr's really developed an offensive game to go with that great defensive play and rebounding of his. And this time the Saints come away empty. Inside it goes, and the finish is there from Shockley Okeke. Spencer Bain inside. Nice feed to the junior and a great finish on the backside of the rim. Good defense. Oh, and then a foul bailing out Embry-Riddle. They're going to get Mason Manning on the reach there. That's his first personal. I thought Manning was doing an excellent job. I thought they might get a 5-second closely guarded call there, Coach.
From here, I totally agree. I thought his hands were back and his feet were moving. But that referee's a little closer to the action than we are.
Nixon gives it up to Sully, and Barr is all over him. I thought a held ball there even, but again, the referee was right on top of it. It's going to be a foul on Jalen. That's just his first personal. We've seen a very physical game. Oh, and more physicality as Barr draws the foul on Shockley Okeke. In terms of hard-nosed play, really no one's going to outdo Jalen Barr, even though he may not be the biggest guy on the court. He plays with a physicality that's nearly unmatched, at least in the Peach Belt Conference.
And he has the heart of a lion.
Clark gets his own miss. It's a 4-point game. Saints with some momentum. And there's Clark with a rejection. Destin Clark has come to play.
Defensively, Flagler's moving their feet a lot better. They're keeping the ball in front of them. They're containing the dribble. not letting Embry-Riddle get to the basket.
Looking down low for Sully. Nice feed. And Sully got the seal on Barr that time, and it made for an easy layup. And a whistle, or did he step on the line? I think a personal foul on Sully. And it'll be his third personal. Sully has had a good game. It's 10 points so far, and he'll have a seat.
Sully's one of the 6-year players at Embry-Riddle.
Juricic replaces him. Dangerous pass out top to Bain, and Bain will run things. Now gives it up to Bryant on the left side. Back to Barr at the elbow, spinning and missing the bunny. Juricic is rejected by Barr. At the other end, Bryant spinning. Spectacular move. He doesn't get the basket, but he will draw the foul and go to the line to shoot 2. So Malik Bryant, who had such an outstanding first season in St. Augustine, first team all-conference pick a year ago, led the Saints in scoring, is back again. And he drops the first one in.
He's a sport management major from South Carolina.
Just 7 points. Kind of quiet by Malik standards. Young checks back in. And Bryant will get a breather. Well, you mentioned sports management major. That's a very popular major, as you know, here at Flagler. It's always fun to me whenever we play the Eagles in whatever sport to read the majors of their athletes, because it's aeronautical engineering, mechanical engineering.
It is. We used to say, if you find a Kindle and you pick it up and say, oh, this must have some books on it. What books are there? What can I read? Then you should go to Flagler. If you pick it up and say, I wonder how this works, I want to take it apart and see what makes it go, then you should go to Embry-Riddle.
Absolutely. Timeout on the floor, a good one, 66-62, Embry-Riddle leading. And welcome back. I'd like to thank some more of the sponsors of Flagler Athletics, including 93 King, alumni-owned two-bedroom cottage just 53 steps from campus, Academy Bus, We Know the Way, and 80 Davis Construction, builders, developers, and contractors. Embry-Riddle ball. Nixon hounded by Manning. And now Barr will go to work defensively. And he'll pick up another foul. Jalen Barr has picked up two quick ones. Kind of ticky-tack. As much banging as we saw down under the basket. And players hitting the ground hard. Extra pass, Nixon, three, short. Gets it back on the long rebound. Tries it again, way short. Bain to Young, looking for a little give and go action. Now a backdoor cut for Boom Reeves. Reeves gives it up to Barr. Nice unselfish basketball from the Saints. And Barr will go to the line to shoot two. Boom Reeves into the game. You gotta love that name.
That's a basketball name.
It's
for
a
sure.
Absolutely. 6'7" sophomore from Pittsburgh. Kind of did a lot of the things that Jalen Barr did last year in providing energy, defense, rebounds. Big, lanky frame. Barr cuts it to two. Open three off a nicely designed play, but it's left short. Another offensive rebound. And Barr with a block. Annie corrals the loose ball. Outlet pass to Bain. Take that three. And then Manning comes away with the loose ball and a travel called. Well, great hustle going after those 50-50 balls. And Coach Sellen is clapping enthusiastically on his sideline. He likes the energy. He likes the competitiveness, I'm sure. And what are the officials talking about here? A potential foul?
I'm wondering. I'm kind of surprised. He slid when he was going for the loose ball and drug that pivot foot. So I thought the travel was probably the right call. I know now, Flagler was trying to call a timeout when he was on the floor with the ball.
Okay, well, a timeout has been called. We'll step aside as well. 66-64, Embry-Riddle. And welcome back. So Flagler will indeed have the basketball here as they call timeout. The Saints have two remaining, three left for the Eagles with 10:34 left to play. And the pace has slowed down a little bit, at least in terms of scoring, Coach.
They have. Flagler's held Embry-Riddle to only 11 points for the first half of this second half.
And the shooting percentages have plummeted as well, especially for Embry-Riddle, now shooting 46.6. Still very solid. Flagler at 54.8 from the field. They were at 60% at the break. Young way out on the perimeter. Bounces for Bain. And it'll stay with Flagler with 10 on the shot clock.
Embry-Riddle back to their zone, underneath out of bounds.
Skip pass, Bain for three. Barr skies for it. It's going to stay with Flagler. Last touch by the Eagles, and the shot clock will reset to 20. Wow. Saw that play develop. Coach Sellen encouraging Spencer Bain to drive baseline because no one was guarding the weak side, and nearly came away with an easy basket off the inbounds. This is Bracey, who's had a good game. Gives it up to Whitlow. Whitlow draws a double team, kicks it out. Bracey for three. Bracey has 14 on perfect 6 for 6 shooting from the field. Nice pass and a great finish. Mason Manning on the business end. Jalen Barr picks up the assist. And wholesale changes coming for the Saints. Free throw line jumper, no. Jurkovic fighting for the rebound. Bracey dribbled it off his foot. And here comes Balknight, Bryant, Figueroa, and Clark, all starters back into the game. Barr, Boom Reeves, Bain, and Manning all get a break. They played well while they were giving the starters a breather. Clark, pass a little too tall. Strong move to the basket, and using his body to shield from the block was Malcolm Whitlow. Whitlow has 10 points. Into the corner it goes. Clark, short. Young kept it alive. Out to Bryant. Now Balknight. Well, drive and kick action. Now they'll do it again. Balknight will pull up for three, and that's off target.
Embry-Riddle really spreading the floor, looking for driving lanes.
In and out it goes on the shot attempt from Alessandro. And that'll get us to our under 8 timeout. 71-66, Embry-Riddle leading. And welcome back. 5-point game. Chance to thank some more of the sponsors of Flagler Athletics, including Evans Automotive, quality work at a fair price, 5-Star Pizza, bigger, better, faster, and Fish Bites set the hook. Coach, I went to Fish Bites. I'm a terrible fisherman, and I don't know a lot about the local waters and techniques, and they helped me right out, and I caught a fish the first day.
Ah, that's great. You know, in a rivalry game like this, oftentimes it's the unsung hero that steps forward. Tonight, Jerry Bracey came into the game averaging 3 points. He's got 14 already tonight.
Wow. And he's perfect from, he's missed one shot now. His last shot was a miss. As a foul called on the drive by Malik Bryant. The foul will be on Skorich. Bryant gets back to the foul line, makes the first one. He's up to 9 points. He's a perfect 3 for 3 from the charity stripe.
Malik is as athletic a player as Flagler's had since Jacek Lottie played here.
And that's saying something.
It is.
Lottie, at last glance, for me at least, was playing professionally in Europe. Two-time player of the year in the PBC. And a whistle and a foul called, I think, on Malik Bryant. They easily could have called a travel there on the long rebound. And so it'll be...
He slid a long way.
Now they'll get the moisture sponged up here. And it will be Embry-Riddle ball on the near sideline.
Little screen-to-screener action by Embry-Riddle.
There's a travel. Good defense by Balknight as Alessandro got tangled up. And Balknight showing some sportsmanship, offering to help him up off the floor. Alessandro didn't want the help. Saints can tie it with a 3. They'll go to Kyle Young, draws the double team, and a nice turnaround in traffic by Kyle Young. He's got 9.
There's a wet spot on the floor.
Jalen Barr right back up off the bench, about to check back in.
Sully had gone down to the low post to establish his position and then just slipped. So the referees alertly spotted that and dried that up to prevent injuries.
Oh, and a blocking foul called. And they're going to get Malik Bryant for his 3rd personal. It looks like Malik kind of the old school pull the chair out defense there where he kind of gave way and they called the foul on him anyway. That sends Shockley Okeke to the line.
Puts Embry-Riddle in the bonus. And that's something you don't want to do, is get into a free throw shooting contest with this team.
Still 6 minutes and 19 seconds to go, and they're already in the bonus.
Was that the announcer's jinx that I just... That's a great free throw shooting team, and he misses the first one.
I think the Embry-Riddle fans may say so. Young, a little too strong, pleading for a foul. Nixon hands it off. 3-pointer on the way. Nicely designed play as Skorich knocks it down. Mason Manning handling it, gives it up to Balknight. Now Kyle Young. Saints look like they're trying to go back door. Instead, it's a 3 from Balknight. He's got 17.
They faked the back door, drew the attention, and he was wide open for the three.
Nixon draws contact and drops in the floater. And a timeout called. What's this about, Coach? I don't think it was a timeout. Was this a warning? Coach Ritter is confused. He's talking to the scorer's table about something. Young was open on the baseline, instead drives and tries the little baby hook. Strong move by McAllister, splitting the double team and dropping it in. The lead back to 5. He has 11. The other end, Manning for 3. And Sully attacks, scores, and draws the foul. Wow. And it looks like the Saints are going to make a change. I thought Coach Sellen may be calling timeout here. He's going to save his final 2. Sully goes to the line. He has 12 points in the game. And he can make it a 5-point advantage.
No one picked him up, and he alertly ran to the front of the rim, signaling for the ball.
Foul is on Manning, his third. In terms of foul trouble, both Manning and Bryant have 3 for the Saints. And Sully and Uritich both have 3 for the Eagles.
Maybe a shot clock question here.
Figueroa fighting through a screen, gives it up to Clark. Manning, another 3. Way off. And that's Eagles basketball. And that gets us to the under 4 timeout. It's been a great one, 81-76. Embry-Riddle continues to lead it. Out of the timeout. Our final 4 minutes of action coming at you here on the PBC Network. 5-point Embry-Riddle lead.
Flagler's done a great job this half of eliminating the second chance opportunities for Embry-Riddle. But Embry-Riddle's countered by scoring their last 4 possessions.
Nearly stolen by Bryant. And the awkward-looking left-handed three-point style continues to work for Shockley Okeke. And it's an 8-point advantage. The answer at the other end won't go for Figueroa, but an offensive rebound for the Saints. Faulknight has had the hot hand offensively, gives it up to Clark. He'll try a 3 and knock it down. Clark had been quiet much of the second half. He's up to 19 in the game, and a quick timeout. We'll keep it right here, Coach, and let's set things up for the final 3:14. Now 1 timeout remaining for the Saints, 3 left for the Eagles. The possession arrow favors Flagler. It's a 5-point advantage. So what are you saying if you're Coach Sellen in the huddle here?
There's no time. It's not time to panic. Play good, solid defense. Keep the man in front of you. They might run a little shot clock. Go for a steal if you have a chance, but don't reach and don't foul.
And if you're Coach Ritter?
Spread the floor, use the clock, dribble, drive, try to get to the rim. You can take a 3 if they leave you alone and if you're feeling it, but there's no hurry to shoot if you're them.
So Flagler will show a little pressure in the backcourt. Double team comes, and a foul by Jalen Barr. So that'll send Embry-Riddle to the line. Malcolm Whitlow, I believe, will be the shooter here. And he missed the front end, but Sully gets the rebound. So now you chew a little clock, I presume.
I would want to use that whole shot clock, although it's down to 7.
So another foul, this time committed, I think, by Figueroa. That's his second personal. And now the Eagles are in the double bonus. They'll shoot 2 the rest of the way. A 7-point advantage. Clark goes to work, backs down. Sully had his shot blocked. Nixon comes away with the loose ball. Nixon nearly lost the handle with 2 on the shot clock. An off target from McAllister on a long 2. Bryant's going to go right to the rack. Little too strong. Another Embry-Riddle rebound. And they'll be content to walk it up here with under 2 minutes to play in a 7-point lead.
High screening roll coming off a staggered on the weak side.
And a foul called against Jalen Barr. That will be his 4th. Sully was starting to lose his footing and gets bailed out on the whistle.
Was very close to hooking Jalen Bark, pulling out of that. But the referees saw it the other way.
Sully goes to the line to shoot 2. He's got 13 points. All 5 Eagles on the floor are in double figures. Sully knocks down the first one.
Again, talking about offensive efficiency, this is 7 straight possessions that Embry-Riddle scored.
Sully's a 71% free throw shooter, and he makes them both on this trip. Makes it a 9-point game. 90 seconds to play. Barr will sit. Figueroa pulls up for 3. Long rebound. And that's a travel, if I'm not mistaken, or a foul. Say a jump ball. Well, I didn't have that one. So the possession arrow will keep it here with the Saints.
If you're Embry-Riddle at this point, you just want to contest the 3. Try to get the rebound and not foul.
Still working to get some moisture up off the floor. Sometimes when we have heavy rains here, as you know, Coach, the actual rainwater can come into the gym. I think most of this has been perspiration tonight. Young goes right at the basket, has his shot blocked by Shockley Okeke. They'll stay with the Saints with 11 on the shot clock and just 109 remaining in regulation. Inbounds play. Balknight for 3. No. Kyle Young scores and draws the foul. Well, this could be just as good as a three-pointer if Young can knock down the free throw. Can get it back within 6 with 1:03 to go.
I would think Flagler would be considering starting to foul Embry-Riddle to stop the clock. But the problem would be, who would you want to foul?
Right. Very good free throw shooting team are the Eagles. As Nixon is fouled on his way to the hoop. Jaws a little bit with some of the Flagler folks. The Flagler, I'm guessing those are the men's lacrosse team. All in good fun. So Nixon, who's quietly put up 12 points, goes to the free throw line. And he knocks down the first one. Nixon's a 78% free throw shooter on the season. The lead is 9.
And Embry-Riddle goes back to the zone.
Clark into the corner. Balknight gets his man in the air, fires the 3, too strong. And a foul committed by Clark on Sully. And Sully will walk down and shoot a pair. And time starting to run out for Flagler. Sully has had a nice night. 15 points to lead the Eagles in scoring. Again, 6 Eagles are in double figures. They've really spread the scoring around. Sign of a well-coached team. And now an 11-point advantage.
teams with balanced scoring are really hard to beat because you're not really sure who to focus on and who to stop.
Loose ball, and it'll go over to the Eagles on the Saints turnover.
Well, despite the slow tempo of the second half, the score is still 90 in the 90s.
Well, it looks like Flagler will not foul, and they'll concede the victory to Embry-Riddle. It was an entertaining one. It's going to end up 92-81 as the Eagles improve to 3-1 on the season. Flagler drops to 1-2. But, Coach, your thoughts on what we saw tonight?
I think we saw a veteran and experienced NCAA tournament team come in and establish themselves first in the first half physically with defense and driving the ball. And in the second half, they opened up and shot more threes. Flagler responded to giving up all those offensive rebounds in the second half, but they weren't quite able to shut down the Embry-Riddle offense enough to come away with the win.
So the Saints, in terms of high scores, Destin Clark with his home debut for Flagler pours a 19. Balknight with 17, 11 for Kyle Young, and 10 for Malik Bryant. And on the Embry-Riddle side, again, very balanced scoring, 17 for Sully, 14 for Nixon, 14 for Bracey, 12 for Shockley, 11 for McAllister, and 10 for Whitlow. Well, I think that'll do it. I'm not sure Coach Sellen is going to come up for an interview. We're kind of treading water here just to see if he decides to join us here in the postgame. And meanwhile, I would like to thank Coach Ivan Kelly. Thanks for joining us. I hope you'll do a lot more of these broadcasts with us. A longtime Flagler coach.
Oh, my pleasure, Dave.
And NBA scout. And we had a blast.
That's great to be here. Great to start it off with this renewed rivalry between these two teams. It was a hard-fought, well-played, clean game. And tonight the better team won. And we hope that next time it's Flagler that's the better team.
Well, join us on Saturday, a 6 p.m. tip as the women are back in action. Flagler with a big win yesterday, and they'll take on another Sunshine State Conference opponent in St. Leo. We'll have that tip for you at 6 p.m. here on the Peach Belt Conference Network. So, for our camera operator, Sammy Jennison, our producer, Laurel Plexico, and the coach, Ivan Kelly, I'm Dave Wenda. Thanks for joining us.